that it's going on here. And that's going on here because the 5 largest companies in the world, all of which are American, so you have Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Google, and Microsoft, all have their largest footprints outside the United States in the world right here in Hyderabad. That's remarkable and deserving of applause. And then also just all of the new openings that we've seen where, we've seen Mass Mutual, Goldman Sachs, there's Micron Technology, so many more who have come here because this is a business environment where the leadership not only has vision, but it has execution. That's hard to find. Usually there's one without the other, but here you have both. And a little bit of an example is that my husband and I went out to spend our last visit to the Taj Falak Numa, and there was a new flyover that shaved about 15 minutes off of our drive. And throughout COVID, when everything was frozen, this government kept building infrastructure. And so that is really impressive, and that will keep literally things moving, but it is also augurs well for the continuing viability of Hyderabad and also Hyderabad's connectivity with the second-tier cities in Telangana. One other thing that really impresses me here is the ecosystem of chambers. So we have HICIA, NASCOM, TIE, CII, AmCham, and I sat on the board I was an advisor on the board of United Way. And I've never seen all these disparate groups work so much in harmony and with a purpose, a unified purpose, here than anywhere else. And it's extraordinary. And that's something I'm really going to miss being a part of. And finally, what you have here that's important to preserve is communal harmony. Part of the history is that this was a princely state. It wasn't even part of India as it approaches its 75th anniversary. So that happened a year later. And but again, you have in Telangana a relative communal harmony and a recognition that so many different groups have contributed to the history and the culture of Telangana. And so these are all the factors that I admire. They're also the factors that make me sad to leave, but I know you're in good hands, and all of you have done so much, especially on the innovation front with T-Hub, WeHub, and so I look forward to following you from afar, and I want to congratulate you on all of your success and wish you all the best in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. You have been a great source of support for the city. We know your 3-year term is going to end on August 20th, 2022. But regardless of wherever you go, we expect that you would promote the city and be still a friend of us. No matter, even if you go to our competitor, you're still promoting Hyderabad. Thank you. Now it's time to honor some of the Tier 2 champions. The government has a lot of emphasis on promoting IT outside of the Western Corridor. Firstly, I would like to invite Genpact. Genpact was the first to set up a base in Uppal, and they're keeping their commitment to grow on the Eastern Corridor. And as part of Phase 2, along with Ramki, they're developing a 15,000 employee campus in Uppal. And also Satish, who is here, he's the General Secretary for Rachakonda Security Council. We have established a separate security council for the Eastern Corridor to take care of the security, traffic, and other needs of the corridor. I would like to invite Satish and Nandakishore and Rajesh from Ramki to come here. And Project GenNext envisages a total development of approximately 2 million square feet of IT office space. This project will be completed in 3 years. This state of the office will be a composite and structured and classified as grade A office space. And it will employ about 15,000 people over various phases of the project. Thank you. Now, I would like to recognize Scient. They have started operations in January 2017 with 60 resources at the incubation center in Warangal. They have moved to their own facility in October 2019. They have taken a 5-acre land from the government and have built up a 75,000 square feet campus and a 600 seating capacity. And currently they are employing 300 associates in Warangal in the area of telecom. From Scient, please come onto the stage. Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Subramaniam and Mr. Vinay Agarwal from Tech Mahindra. They are not only the hosts for this event today, but they've also set up a nice location, or they've taken they've started their operations on 1st January 2020 in Warangal, and they've taken 125 seats last year, and they're expanding further. Currently, they have 225 seats, and they're planning to scale up to 500 in the coming year. Thank you. Next, I would like to invite SoftPath from Warangal. SoftPath Systems is headquartered in Atlanta and founded by Mr. Ravi Chander and Sushma Roy in 1999. The company has been providing innovative technological solutions in digital transformations, master data management. SoftPath, please come. In Warangal, since March 2021, SoftPath has successfully employed 250 plus graduates, and they plan to scale it up to 500 in the next 2 years. Promoting tier 2 and locations outside of the Western Corridor is very important for the government. And the fact that we are honoring them is a testimony that the government is committed. And we also have released the grid policy for promoting the tier 2 locations. Thank you. Next, I would like to invite Athiram from Warangal. Athiram. Athiram is an AVCGI company established in Warangal, primarily located in NIT Warangal campus. They released their IP, Pan-India mocap film Dheera. I don't know how many have seen it, but it was telecasted on multiple channels, and it is also on Amazon Prime. And it was voiced by 12 superstars in 12 states. And the company is currently developing services for a wide range of industries, including entertainment, edutech, healthcare, and agri-tech. Thank you. Next up, Quadrant in Warangal. I would like to invite a gentleman from Quadrant. Quadrant is a US-based cloud and data company established by Mr. Vamsi Reddy, a native of Warangal. And they create business value for Fortune 1000 companies by accelerating business innovation, enabling new growth, improving operational efficiency, and transforming the user experience. They have a delivery center in Hyderabad with 1,500 software engineers. And they're starting their own development center in Warangal, which will employ 1,000 software engineers in the next 5 years. Thank you. Thank you. Next, I would like to invite Eclat Healthcare Solutions, who are established in Karimnagar and looking at Warangal, Khammam and Malakpet. Eclat Healthcare Solutions. They are headquartered in Washington, D.C. Mr. Sudhakar Rao, please come onto the stage, please. Mr. Sudhakar Rao. And Eclat was one of the pioneers in expanding to Tier 2 cities in India. They were one of the first people to start their operations in Karimnagar. And they set it up in, with 18 employees and opened a large state-of-the-art 15,000 square foot delivery, 15,000 square feet delivery center in Karimnagar in May 2016 with 108 employees. They are currently employing 230 employees with expansion plans to be at 500 employees in Karimnagar by the end of the year. And they've also made a commitment to 1,400 by 2023 across Warangal and Khammam in new delivery centers. Thank you. Next, I would like to invite Samskruti from Karimnagar. Samskruti from Karimnagar, please come onto the stage. Yeah. The company is into digital marketing, web and IT development, serving North American and domestic clients. They have taken office space in Karimnagar IT Tower with a capacity of 40 members. And they have a total headcount of 80 members now, and by year end they will add 150 members and plan to take it to 500 employees by 2025. Samskruti from Karimnagar, please. And next up we have TechWave from Khammam. TechWave from Khammam. Mr. Damodar and Raju, please come. TechWave is a Houston-based company providing global digital services with multiple delivery centers in Telangana. They work with 500 plus global customers, including 10 in the Fortune 500 and 100 clients on various strategic digital transformation initiatives. They have doubled their headcount in Telangana to 2,000 employees now, and they have started a delivery center in Khammam last year and hired 225 resources. Next up, TechSky from Khammam. TechSky from Khammam. TechSky is a US-based company. Rakesh Batina and Prakash Batina, NRIs in USA. They started operations in Khammam IT Tower with 150 employees. And they would like to increase the employees to 250 this year and 500 by 2025. Thank you. This is just to show the commitment of the government in promoting Tier 2 cities and grid locations. Once again, thank you all. Now, I would like to bring focus to the mobility sector. Just like BFSI, which is a very established sector, mobility sector is a growing sector, and government is putting a lot of emphasis on it. And here we have Mr. Pradeep Kumar, who is the head of R&D for Hyundai Mobis. You know, Pradeep spent about 20 years in the automotive sector. He spent 10 years in Germany, working for various companies, including Bosch, Continental, and BMW. He's also a member of the Strategic Council for the Telangana Mobility Valley. I would like to invite Pradeep here onto the stage to speak a few words on the sector. He's also here with Mr. J.O. Cha, who is the MD of Hyundai Mobis, who is seated right there. Pradeep.
Thanks, Amar. Honorable Mr. Garu, KTR, and other dignitaries on the dais, and my friends from the industry. I take immense pleasure in attending this IT event, and as a son of soil, I would like to say a few words with respect to mobility sector. And I have spent more than 20 years in the industry in various capacities across the globe, in Germany and in Europe, and I have seen multiple ecosystems in automotive. And I have landed in Telangana 5 years back and started working with Hyundai Mobis and in Hyderabad. So that was the time, just a few years Telangana has formed, and around that time mobility sector was not so much. It's probably 5 to 10,000 people, I would say. Now I would confidently say that it has reached about 50,000 people in and rapidly growing. And I have witnessed various mobility ecosystems worldwide, and Telangana government is actively working to create one of its kind of unique mobility ecosystem, and I would say this would be most progressive and forward-looking ecosystem in the world. So we are calling this is as a Telangana Mobility Valley, and I personally have participated in several discussions in initiating this mobility ecosystem, and there were several stakeholders from the industry and government. And the mobility sector has the potential to grow at least and create 1 million jobs. I would say with this vision, it is possible cutting across all the segments like digitization, IT, engineering, R&D, manufacturing, and other services around it. And as the automobile has been transformed from a mere mechanical machine to almost a supercomputer, with the emphasis on safety, different control services to the human beings, with the advent of new technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, computer vision, data science, and embedded electronics around it. And it is a big part of modern car today. And this is going to give tremendous opportunities for bright engineers and skilled workers, especially from Telangana. I'm looking forward to it. And Telangana government is doing all the things right in creating the common infrastructure, ecosystem, and talent pool. We are also working with premier institutes to create center of excellence, to create more and more talent pool available for the industry to grow. And I'm very happy and pleased with the way Telangana Mobility Valley is shaping up. And as Steve Jobs once said, innovation distinguishes between a leader and the follower. And Telangana government has always shown that they are leader in creating innovative policies. And I'm sure that with Mobility Valley, Telangana will be uniquely positioned in India across the world. And I assure support from my side, and my MD, Mr. Jeocha, is also here. We assure that all support will be there to the government for next growth. And thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Pradeep, and special thanks to you and Mr. Jay Ocha. You've been participating in at least 100 discussions regarding Mobility Valley, and I would also like to recognize some of the stakeholders of the Mobility Valley here, ZF, Krish, and Hyundai. We have Mr. Saradi. We have a gentleman from Stellantis, Radhika from Micron. So a lot of people have been participating in this, and things are coming out really well. And like Pradeep said, there were 10 or hardly 5 or 10,000 people 5 years ago. Today we have 50,000. It has a potential to cross 1 million, across all segments. Thank you, Pradeep, once again. Now we come to the main part of the event, the release of the IT progress report by the Honorable Minister. I'd like to invite all the department heads to come and join us for the report release on the stage. Mrs. Deepthi, Mr. Shailesh Reddy, the CIO. For the press and our other friends here, there is a QR code that you can download the report, and it is available online. It's also online on the department website, it.telangana.gov.in. Now we request the Honorable Minister, the captain of the ship, to come here and express his vision for the IT in the coming years, and also deliver the numbers for the year 2021 and 22.
Thank you, Amar. గౌరవనీయులు మా ఐటీ శాఖ ముఖ్య కార్యదర్శి జయేష్ రంజన్ గారు, ద ప్రిన్సిపల్ సెక్రటరీ, గౌరవనీయులు అమెరికన్ కాన్సుల్ జనరల్ జోయల్ రైఫ్మన్ గారు, గౌరవనీయులు నరసింహారెడ్డి గారు, గౌరవనీయులు టీఎస్టీఎస్ చైర్మన్ జగన్మోహన్ రావు గారు, జీటీ వెంకటేశ్వరరావు గారు, రమాదేవి గారు, రాంప్రసాద్ గారు, ఇంకా వేదిక ముందున్న మన ఐటీ రంగానికి సంబంధించిన పరిశ్రమ ప్రతినిధులు, అదేవిధంగా పాత్రికేయ మిత్రులు, to all the friends from the media and all the representatives of various industry bodies including HICIA, Manisha. We have representatives of NASSCOM, AmCham. We also have representatives of CREDAI. We also have representatives of various other bodies. I would like to acknowledge and thank all of you for participating in this event. More importantly, to those of you who I have not acknowledged, my apologies in advance. I think your participation is what makes this, kind of eclectic and beautiful. Thank you very much for joining us today. Before I begin to talk about last year's numbers, I would like to quickly thank, the entire team of IT department. I think they and the entire industry, of course. I think for doing a stellar job over the last 8 years. I think all of us together have been able to ensure that Hyderabad and the flag of Telangana kept flying very high over the last 8 years. So I think my entire team deserves a huge round of applause. And to Jayesh and the entire team, my compliments to all of you for working really hard and working, especially through the pandemic, I think, where lots of people were uncertain, lots of people were not sure of what lied in store. And my team was just a text message away, just a WhatsApp message away, and we were able to respond promptly, address a lot of issues, work with you, work together with the industry in ensuring continuity of services without any disruptions. Now, as most of you know, I think last 8 years, especially since we are reaching the 8th year tomorrow after the formation of the state of Telangana, most of these 8 years we've interacted a number of times, and I'm sure most of you will agree that it has been a very symbiotic, synergistic and congenial kind of engagement with the industry. That's how we've seen the industry grow, prosper, create employment opportunities, create wealth for the state, and also grow in terms of numbers. In fact, last year has been nothing short of stellar. It is, like Jayesh Ranjan said, it has surpassed even our expectations. For the year 2021-22, Telangana has had a phenomenal growth in the IT and IT-enabled services sector, with an increase of 26.14% in the ITES exports, which is an astounding number. The previous year's numbers back in 2021 were 1,45,522 crores in terms of exports from Telangana. But this year, we have reached a total of 1,83,569 crores, which I think is an extremely impressive figure. But what's even more impressive, if you ask me, is the number of employees that have been added in this sector over the last 1 year. And remember, let me remind you, this was in the middle of a pandemic, when people were working from home, when there were a lot of apprehensions about people losing jobs, etc. Employment in the ITES sector has increased by nearly 24%, 23.78 to be precise. And I think this is extremely impressive because, nearly 1,49,506, and almost 1.5 lakh new jobs were added during 21-22. Now, just to give you a sense of a comparison as to how well Telangana has done compared to the rest of the country, I think I'll just give you those figures. As per the estimates of NASSCOM, over the last 1 year, Approximately 4,50,000 new jobs have been added in the country, out of which 1,50,000 have been added in Hyderabad. So one-third of new jobs in the country, I think coming from Hyderabad is not a mean achievement, is not a mean feat. And also let me point out another thing. I just mentioned that Telangana grew at 26%, 26.14% over the last year in terms of IT exports. I also have to compare it to the national average. Of course, the national average also includes our numbers, but the national average, national export average, is at about 17.2%. So Telangana is almost 9% above the national export average, which goes to show you how well we have performed over the last 1 year. Let me also just quickly give you another reference point so that you can appreciate and understand how well Telangana has performed. In 2014, on the 2nd of June, when the state was formed, the IT exports from Telangana were at about 57,258 crores. So we have grown by more than 300%, more than 3 times. 57,258 then to 1,83,569 now, which I think is tremendous, and I think it is definitely something that you will all appreciate. Let me also tell you the numbers in terms of how many people were directly employed in the IT sector back in 2014. Back in 2014, the total employment in the IT sector, direct jobs, was 3,23,397. But now, after this latest report that has come out, it is about 7,78,121. So nearly 4.54 lakh new jobs have been added in the last 8 years. So that again is a humongous growth over the last 8 years. Of course, in fact, there was an estimate as per the United AP back in the day in 2014. We were expected to reach IT exports as a united state of 2,09,000 crores by 2035. 2,09,000 crores of IT exports by 2035 was the... I think even the mic system appreciates this. Is it working? Am I audible? Yes. Okay, good. Glad. So the export figures were expected to reach 2,09,000 crores as a united Andhra Pradesh by 2035, 13 years from now. But we are already, sorry? As per the ITIR estimate, the ITIR, when it was formulated by the UPA government back in 2013, they had estimated that this number would be 2,09,000 crores by 2035. But we are 13 years away from 2035, and I can proudly tell you that we are almost there. So I think that goes to show you the kind of growth, and without any ITIR, by the way, without any ITIR support or without any ITIR scheme, which is unbelievably impressive. The more important thing is the ITIR projections assumed a national GDP growth of 6% and optimistically about 7.5% when considering these numbers. But I think even though the country's GDP growth has slowed down, Telangana, with its kind of aggressive growth, has been able to achieve these numbers. So I think my compliments to the entire industry for performing extremely well, to HYCIA, to NASSCOM, to all the chambers of commerce who are gathered here. My compliments to all of you on your fantastic growth story, to the representatives from BFSI sector, to the representatives from mobility sector, to the representatives from other industry vectors who are already here. And more importantly, from my personal viewpoint, I think what's even more important from the state's perspective is an all-round holistic development. Now that can only happen when we continue to grow in other areas other than the western part of Hyderabad. To that effect, I'll come to the details in a bit, but I'm really, really happy and really excited about the kind of waves new companies and new technology enterprises are coming forward. In fact, are coming forward with a lot of enthusiasm for opportunities in Warangal, in Karimnagar, in Mehboob-nagar, in Nalgonda, in Khammam, and more recently in Adilabad, and even in Ramagundam. So all of these actually are going to keep us in good stead in terms of what we can offer to our children. In fact, before I came onto the podium here, I had a quick, 5-minute chat with both Damodar and, Raj from TechWave. There's a very interesting, they made some very interesting comments. They said, we have started hiring from Triple IT Basar, and we see that, these children actually do not need as much training as we assumed or we imagined they would, firstly. And secondly, they said attritions are really lower compared to a Hyderabad or a Bangalore in a tier 2 town. And more importantly, these youth working from their comfort zone will keep them, more productive and more loyal to our enterprises is what they felt. So my compliments, guys. I think that's a great analysis. And I do believe very strongly that this is what, is going to propel us into the next, next orbit of growth. Now, just to name a few marquee investments that have come in over the last 1 year. Goldman Sachs, as you all know, is an investment banking giant, entered Hyderabad, and they have very aggressive plans to grow to almost 2,500 in about 3 years. And I think it's an extremely important addition to the BFSI sector. While there are others, like Ramesh pointed out, who need to join the club, I think Goldman Sachs joining us is, of course, a welcome addition. Now, consumer electronics manufacturer, OnePlus, again, a very popular electronics company, has made a debut in India through Hyderabad, making Hyderabad as a hub for making smart TVs. About 500 employees are currently involved in the production, and they're on their way to actually distributing 1 million smart televisions. The world's leading open innovation platform, called as Plug and Play, has also set up its center in Hyderabad, and I'm extremely proud that they've done it in a record time after our meeting in France. They opened their office in High Tech City for catalyzing the growth of automotive startups in the city in partnership with startup Autobahn in